You know, random thing. As ridiculous as all these games have been, I don't think anything will ever top the first game's cross-examining a parrot. Like, I don't think you can never top that. At least we haven't seen anything. There's been some interesting things, like interviewing ghosts, and dead people, and a radio. But a bird was the most interesting one for sure. If you've never played the first one, I have now spoiled an amazing moment in the first game. So here we are. We're gonna now defend Natsume. We're cross-examining Gregson here. So here we go. Le Press.
Hold it!
A light fog, you say? Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much farther, though. That's not the right voice. It's almost there. That's light, is it? Around these parts, yes. Not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course. I've read that London is famous for its fog. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. How quaint. Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate. I see. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm. Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage. They were pulling. Ah, Sasada-san and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. I assume we're not going to catch anything here, it's just going to leave the jury. How are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witnesses to this crime have told us. Ah yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard. That is correct, ma'am. Oh, then we must hear their testimony. The prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights. Ah! The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Right, here in London for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness. Which means we really need to hear these witnesses' statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. Like, I feel like the thing I need to have in the mindset when doing Von Zeeks is contempt. Contempt for everyone that is not him.
Hold it!
From behind, you say? That's right. As you can see from this print. He took it right in the back. Jeez. Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in critical condition? Comatose, no less? I'm afraid so, my lord, yes. She's been treated at parts. I was hopeful that she'd come around before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. You see, this is why trials usually take months to happen. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events. Luck is on your side, it seems. Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. Ugh. Whoop.
Hold it!
Mr. Natsume's belongings. I think you'll find it all there in the photographic print of the crime scene. Yes, the 3 books on the floor. That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand. Which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. Okay. Real quick. I almost just whipped out my knife because I have the same knife. Real quick. You gonna one-hand this? Like you can try. You can try to just flick that open. But these were made to have like a good enough hinge that you can't just slide it out like that. You have to two-hand these things, usually. Like, let me just check mine really quick. Yeah, it's in there. You can't just pop it out. You need to pull it out. That's what this little thing right here is for. 'Cause I was trying to remember what this is for. That's so you can just fingernail in and just pull it out. The dents there just be able to pull it out easier. I mean, they don't even need fingernails. You get your skin in there and you can pull it out easier. That's what that dent is for. So, you want to one-hand that? Okay. He's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full on it with his books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew what was there. No, it's still open. It's still open, in my opinion. He would have had to have the knife drawn as he was leaving the bookstore. You mean to say the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust a knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord, yes. Bull! Bull!
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked from floor to ceiling with those musty old books. You can tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must. I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books. A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Amirshcum Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road, at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Why would he cross like that? Something like this. Why wouldn't you just blah? Why wouldn't you beeline it? Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop. Mr. Narahodo, well, we're not questioning him being there. He was there. I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance. Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being the bookshop's location. The name and stock shouldn't mean that much. Oh, wait. Your books, not the place. Oh, yeah. Do it. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your final formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe. Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes. It could be a very important clue. I could have delivered that differently and better. Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say. Could the man be any more sardonic? I'll be honest, I don't know what that word means. He was on his way home from Bourbon Books, a second-hand bookshop he apparently patronizes. Now, we'll go back to that one, but you're gonna do the full press here. You asked for the help of the famous detective Sherlock Holmes to locate the defendant, I believe. Stuff and nonsense. Sorry. That jack in office, that busybody, just comes and sticks his oar in whether we ask him or not. But according to what I have here, Mr. Sholmes was shown to the scene by Scotland Yard detectives. Well, that was nothing to do with me. The lads at the scene must have done it, without my permission. Ah. I tell him time and again, whenever something happens, send word to headquarters. And follow your bloomin' instructions. I see. If that meddler gets his hands on any details, well, I'll be reading it in Rand's magazine next month. And you can bet your last farthing that I'll be in there too, stripped of all that hard work on the case I did. Yes, Mr. Sholmes. No, Mr. Sholmes. Aren't you clever, Mr. Sholmes? That's all the thanks I'll be getting. Inspector, if the man is proving detrimental to the Yard's activities, perhaps I should step in and deal with him. Ah! It appears Inspector Gregson is lost for words. Yes, the Reaper's words carry a lot of weight, obviously. Anyway, the point is this. That little Japanese bloke's already admitted it. He's admitted that those books all over the pavement at the scene were the ones he bought that day. Yeah, like, everyone's established that he was there. What we're trying to establish, I guess, is, well, if there's holes in the evidence, there's holes in the evidence, which means there could be something. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? If you're unable to sway the jury during this cross-examination, I'm afraid that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed? Yes, they're sure to find him guilty. So, one way or another, I have to expose an undeniable inconsistency in the inspector's testimony. Okay, so... Bourbon Books! It's time to present a receipt!
Objection!
I object, bro. If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident, and details the purchases of 3 second-hand books. And you found that in the accused's room, did you? Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books, I assume? Y-O-R-E, I assume? Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that... Well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection!
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Objection!
I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here, if that might be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all. Ooh, Could that be true? My, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare... Oh god, she says I do declare! But I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lorisu? What you just said? Absolutely, it actually could be right. Now, we bluffing right now. We're bluffing right now, we don't know where that shop is. Inspector Gregson, where is this Your Books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Mershcombe Street going east. Location. So he could still, you know, go down there instead of Calabash. And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. No change! Oh. Oh, hey, another bottle, another glass. As you can see. Oh. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown. The way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus. You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you. Woohoo! Woohoo! Woo! Get her ass! Get his ass! Get his ass! I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. Yeah, you could still take the same route. If the accused was coming home from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books. Yeah, still same route. Or Calabash. There's no doubt he will have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. Yeah, we're not questioning that. There's gotta be another reason why Your Books. Yes, thank you, Inspector. Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Ah! It might still. There might be something at your... Oh, the ring. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. What did I say? I've had enough of this now. Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that? Mr. Naruhodo, we mustn't give up. What? What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Ah, she's absolutely right. We must think. We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. They claim Saseki-san must have passed this location of the incident on his way home from Your Books, but... What am I going to object here? I think we have to leave it. We don't have anything. I think I'd better leave it alone for now. Very well, if the defense has no rebuttal here. Mr. Naruhodo, as I said before, we can't give up here. We must fight back. Yes, I realize that, but sometimes the best way to fight is to do nothing, you know? You're right. What am I talking about? Doing nothing won't get us anywhere. It wasn't sitting right with me anyway.
Objection!
What's the objection? What is the objection? The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Hold it!
First, we must deal with the inexcusable tardiness of your objection. Dang it! Yeah, I paid for that. Huh? Miss Naruhodo, remember, it's time to fight back. Get his ass. I don't know what's worse, the court penalty or Miss Sasato's son's piercing stare. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. I do not. When returning from Your Books to his lodgings, Miss Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. Yeah, but why? The defendant used these streets. Look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
But Saseki himself says he was there, so that's the thing. Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that That route is what is commonly referred to as the long way around. Ah! On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, The answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings, and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime. No, you take the long way around if you feel like a stroll.
Objection.
People cruise. But, aha, yes, I've got it. Obviously, you must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questions. He claims he has no recollection. Huh. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly, from A to B. Wandering to B, so come on. That there was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. I don't believe this! Bow. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you, insightful jurors? Oh, no. But even if that is the case, the defense still... Who said hold it? Sasato? Oh, damn! Oh, old man's mad! Hold it from him. I agree with Lord Von Zeeks. Wholeheartedly and in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean... We members of the jury are completely convinced now. That's not the same voice as before. I'm noticing that. I realize that. Very well, in that case I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty.
Guilty.
They have lines?
Guilty.
Those are the voices?
Guilty.
That's her voice?
Guilty.
That's his voice?
Guilty.
That's his... Alright, I agree with half of those voices. Ah! We're doing it again! Alright, let's do this. It's go time! It would appear the jury's leading is unanimous. Ugh. Alright, doing this again. Where'd you get another glass? Where did you get another glass? To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably. Mr. Naruhodo. No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. Alright. I had to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial? Rights of defense written in antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago? Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it chooses. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with this summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? He's seen this before. So this voice is supposed to be just straight up, just text. Of course we're ready. And that's not the voice, but I can't find it all of a sudden. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his Onkus refusal to throw in his alley. Onkus? Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. Summation examination. Judicial findings. Drinking water. I want the old man's reason because F him, that's why. Here we go. For pity's sake, the little Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he? If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why can only have been the victim? The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful. I really don't care. Can we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing. Your books, yes. I shop that, but bourbon books? No, not worth a visit. Alright, where's the conflict here? With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear. When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes. Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant had then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already. Oh dear, even the judge appears convinced of Miss Natsume's guilt now. Why did he have to run away like that? And how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How could I possibly make a case for the defense? Mr. Naruhodo, this is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue... Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least. Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward. Guard the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination. Yes, my lord. Slap! I just need to keep this trial going somehow, whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke, you can do it. Jury examination. Oh, look who's in the background. Just gonna eat my unlimited chips? Defense's rebuttal. Oh yeah, I can press. Yeah. Press. Time to do some pressing. Excuse me, but... Aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was in the witness stand myself just 2 days ago. Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the sight of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. I'm sorry, you're the one who was gambling, and you got lucky McGilda died. Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals. Ah, well, you know, water under the bridge. Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me on non-stop. If I could turn back the clock... Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. And free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Huh, thank goodness. Alright, maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind, given our awkward history. The foreman's always the hard one. Oh dear, I wonder what's become Mr. First now. They were doing a specific Betty Boop choice here with this lady, I swear. You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him. Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly that funny little Nipponese man with the Giuseppe mustache is the culprit. But let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman. Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, or honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you think he would have concocted something more credible? Do you not think he would have concocted something more credible? Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds? I could tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it. I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could possibly have committed this awful crime. And no one else could have done it. The accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple. The argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit. Oh my, you are too kind, my lord. That went well for her. Right, I got nothing to pit. Golly! Alright, here we go. But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it, Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I have given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Roadway, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case, honestly, I would. A reason why Soseki-san might have taken the long way around. Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one. Number 6 will tell us a reason.
Hold it!
Whatever's the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Girdham, aren't you? The landlord who rents Miss Natsume's room? The master's wife? Where do you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand? He's keeping up that charade? This is going to be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean? Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? Oh my goodness me, yes. He's the sort. What? Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room. Sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks. And don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. Was that really a thing back then? Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I'd better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She's said enough damning things already. A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever from me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. Like you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I got to the union every morning to find out what needs of doing. And if you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left and right and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk, it is. So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was. What? Another coincidence? That's right. Mershcom's Street it was. Mershcombe Street? On the map, Mr. Naruto, there are only 3 named streets. Jury number 5, I need you to add that information to the formal statement, please. What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now? Please, sir, it's important. Fine, I'll do it then. We found the conflict between 3 and 5. And the day it happened, I was digging up Mershcombe Street from dawn to dusk. Get that guy later. Press this.
Hold it!
Sorry. Fold it, you say? Fold what? No. What I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. And at that time, did you visit your books on the day in question? Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're talking about. Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time? Ah, yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry, not after the dreadful time I had. What do you mean? Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it was most slippery. I knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up. Wait a minute, let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road? That's right, I live in Horn Pop, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books. Guess who's wearing green and is plump? Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant. Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now. It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced that Mr. Natsume's guilt. I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective. I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume or anything. That's something. We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo. Cunningly. Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again carefully. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other. Yes, don't hold back. Pit all of them against each other. Get their asses. Alright, okay. So, 2 and 6, 3 and 5. Because he said he saw someone all of ahead of him fall to the ground. They did it on Calabash. Oh my god, which means, yeah, those 3 books might not be Natsume's books then. Huh. So while he was running home, another murder happened. A murder attempt happened. Pit. With. There you go.
Objection!
These 2 statements are clearly at odds with one another. At odds, counsel? Explain yourself. Please don't point. It wasn't me, I swear. Hey, what? I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir? Oh, golly, me, sir? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of secondhand books, and on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Mershcombe Street, making it impassable. Which means that the defendant route home could not have taken him along Mershcombe Street and down Briar Road. Oh yes, of course. What do you think, sir? Well, yes, you can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards and more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. I like how the jurors are like witnesses, sort of, like they're material here. So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that must be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. But we now see that he had no choice. Yes. My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may. Yes. I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Huh. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. Oh, blam! I don't think that guy still wants to put that because he wants to go home. Number 5, I mean. How about you, sir? Who, me? Well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say. Blam. I like how I'm using the same voice for Juror 5 in both cases. Progress! Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful. Well, we managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy, that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume. We might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Von Zeeks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent, by whatever means we have at our disposal. Okay, so after we get the next one, we'll stop there. Thank you, Counsel. On with the Summation Examination, please. Yes, my lord. Pitt. The man in green.
Objection.
Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. A flaw? What are you talking about, Counsel? Well, juror number 2. Juror number 6. Whatever do you mean, sir? I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you? Unbelievable! It's not like I was loud or anything. There is at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot. But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection.
Nope. Can we really be sure of that, madam? Whatever do you mean? I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood. Oh my. My goodness, you mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today? That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. Well, look at that. My goodness me. Sorry, you need a pee? Oh my god. And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my. Why did you do that reaction? We need, old man, if you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago. And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days, huh? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it? And look like Weepy from Popeye? Like an old version? Oh. My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but... You'd like to change your leaning, I presume? I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you! And I would too! What? Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well... I forgot the voice I gave this man. He is now angry. Oh, scales balanced. And then... scales not balanced anymore. Well, that summation examination is concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The eyes, too. The nose for. It's not eyes and nays, no, okay. The nose for. So the nose have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Son of a bitch. Oh, he drinks for once! Would it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice a moment after raising an objection? Stop there. We're gonna save there, and he's gonna make his speech, and then we're gonna do some battling. Alright, that is the game for now. I had fun. Hope you had fun watching. That's what's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.